Cheated on by GF, 5-year relationship. We were in a 5-year relationship, lived and loved through our college life, we were indispensable to each other, we were our support system. We had a good college life, it was one of the most natural experiences of my life. I used to feel so happy and peaceful. I started my job and she started her post-grad preparation. We had few hiccups in terms of fights, and mostly because I complained that she was not emotionally available to me after my father's departure in COVID. Once she got admission in her post-grad college, our long distance flourished and we used to meet very regularly. She was all lovey-dovey. On one of our meets, I discovered she was cheating on me for some 2-3 months with 2 guys, one in college and one outside, multiple times. Saw one of the guys 2 days before we met. When I discovered, she was extremely apologetic and guilty and I blocked her. I told this to our mutual friends and her sister, who knew that we were planning to get married. Now she is like, you shouldn't have told her, and that she will never talk to me in life. I know we don't have a future, but my love is still lingering on and I feel a bit guilty about telling this to close mutuals, who knew how our relationship nurtured and how we were planning a future. Why, but I feel bad that we're no more, and I feel stupid for caring her still and giving thoughts about her. Don't know what to do to clear my headspace and the correct way forward. Story 2. I am 24, got cheated on, but I regret my revenge. I got cheated on by my girlfriend of 4 years with a one-night stand. She ended up getting pregnant, and I thought it was mine until she confessed everything. She confessed one night while we were just cuddling. I had my suspicions, but I guess she couldn't resist the guilt. She started begging and telling me that she cut him off and everything, you know the drill. It destroyed me, but she only told me a couple days later that the baby wasn't mine. That's when I lost it. She started begging and crying again, and after days of her just trying to keep me to stay with her, I told her that I would stay at only one condition. The condition was that she would have to get an abortion. She agreed and went through all the steps to get it. After everything was finished, I told her that I never intended to stay and that I made her go through an abortion only to get my revenge after everything she made me go through, and that she deserved every bit of pain that comes into her life. I kept insulting her for hours, even on private stuff that only I knew. After that, I told her to get out or I would call the police. I will never forget the face that she made. In that moment it made me feel good, but only now I realized how ducked up it was. It's been months since I last saw her, and sometimes I get so guilty that my body freezes, my stomach hurts and starts sweating, and most time even crying. All I know is she went to live back with her parents. And since we have mutual friends, sometimes I ask how she is doing. But they just give me a look and mumble something. What should I do? Please help. The story is more complex, but I tried to keep it as short as possible. Redditors' reactions. Story 3 after. Redditor 1, she moved on with her life, move on with yours. Redditor 2, there's not much you can do in this situation. All you can do is reach out and apologize for your actions and leave her be. She's not innocent and you're not innocent, both of you did some terrible things to each other. Just know if you reach out and she wants nothing to do with you, that's fine. I hope you grew from this and become better, because even though you were wronged, your actions were disturbing. Redditor 3, you can attempt to apologize, but that toothpaste is out of the tube. I suspect she will hate you forever, and quite frankly you were lower than scum to her. Redditor follow-up, doubt it's only the ex will hate him. The parents would go Lucifer on him too. Best he could do is send a letter of apology. If she reciprocate to meet, then do it again face to face. But wow. I could not imagine the amount of anger, resentment you have at that moment to do such. All the best. Story 3, my wife was killed in a tragic accident, then I found out she was cheating. 2 months ago my wife of 10 years, I'm 35, she was 34, tragically passed away in a car accident, hit by a drunk driver in broad daylight. I cried non-stop for 3 days. We were planning on having kids and I had started a good paying job a year earlier and we just purchased our first home just 2 months before her death. I just couldn't and still can't believe she is really gone from my life. It's like just yesterday everything was heading in the right direction and would soon raise a family. She seemed happy in our marriage and stated how proud of me she was. The following week after the accident I received her phone, which was locked. After a week I found out how to unlock it by an obvious code I didn't think of earlier. I simply just wanted it to keep photos in her memory, photos of us and so forth. But I saw some odd things in her photos. Included photos of her in someone else's house, a house which I had never seen before, taking provocative images. I continued scrolling down and seen the most heart-wrenching thing I ever seen. Which was her with another man. It was nothing estimual, but they were in a place that was obviously his. And just how close they were, I just knew that this was an affair. The guy who wife had an affair with, showed up at her funeral. I felt like I got stabbed in the gut when I realized I seen him there. I began reading her texts and first I found out that she was on her way back from his place. 3 hours before the accident she texted him saying I'm on my way. I knew that meant he was the last one to see my wife. Not only see her but having an intimate moment with her, also she would still be here right now if she wasn't seeing him. I feel like I'm going through a death of a loved one and a breakup at the same time. She did this behind my back and will never know that I found out. In a way I feel she got to escape the heartbreak she put me through, although I fully understand death is much worse and even knowing everything I know, I would never ever wish this or any pain upon her. I found out not only through her texts but her Facebook messages. Something that absolutely enrages me is that she told her closest friend that this guy from work wanted to take her out to dinner. Her friend encouraged her to go out with him. It enrages me cause I knew her as well and in person she was always very nice. But my wife was asking her to get confirmation. Had she said no, you are married, do not go out with him, I honestly feel like she wouldn't have done it. But her best friend was like, oh, is he hot? Oh, do it. Go have fun. It's just ducking in raging. This happened 6 months ago when she asked her friend about it. A few days later she talked to her friend about how after dinner she went to his place and had time multiple times. When I read that I honestly got physically sick. I honestly started going through a breakdown. Vomiting in the toilet, then crying on the bathroom floor. I just can't imagine that this stuff actually happened, but it did. How could she do this? But as the days passed and the initial shock began to slow down, I started piecing things together. The funeral, I noticed something a little unusual, which was this best friend of hers, talking to one of her co-workers. This was a friend from high school and there was no reason she should have known any of her co-workers. But she was in fact talking to her co-worker who she had the affair with. Then she came and talked to me, gave me a hug. The guy who my wife was having an affair with, came and shook my hand. Something about that just makes me feel sick. Like I was being humiliated in a moment of grief. There was him and her best friend who knew about her affair. I couldn't help but wonder, did her co-workers also know? It's been a month and I feel no closer to breaking away from the heartbreak. I miss her, I want her to be alive. If she was, I would probably even want to fix our marriage. But she's not here anymore. I still couldn't bring myself to read all of her text messages with him. There is hundreds and some are estimually explicit. My blood boils and my heart aches when I open their texts and I get hit with anxiety and an adrenaline rush, palms get sweaty and hands shake. But I feel it's important I knew everything. It just breaks my heart this guy did things with my wife she wouldn't do for me. The thing that blows my mind the most is that there were no warning signs at all, not ducking one. Our marriage was good, she never did anything suspicious, our S-time life went on as normal. Just zero warning signs about it other than the fact she started wearing a little more makeup than usual. Then I blame myself for not catching on, maybe this all could have been prevented, maybe I should have done this or that. I am broken and don't see myself ever being happy again. Edit, thanks everyone for all the support, I honestly didn't expect so much response. Everyone who wished me well, thank you and know that your kind words give me strength. I have got a response back from her friend, stating that she is deeply sorry for encouraging the behavior and not taking my feelings into account. She never wanted me hurt and yada yada. Honestly, I don't feel any relief from her apologies. About the phone, I cannot bring myself to destroy all the truth. I feel like I must read through the entirety of my wife's texts with this man or I will forever go crazy wondering what did and didn't occur, how often, and maybe get some answers on if they were lovers, was it just lust's time or what did she plan on doing. Obviously in this state of trauma I cannot emotionally handle reading their conversations, but I decided to keep the phone, to read it all and then toss it and move on. Also for people telling me to PSS on her grave, or saying this is karma, please drop it and don't comment. I loved her for over a decade and it's not going away like that. I still love this woman even with the disgusting things she has done. She was still my wife, a daughter and an aunt. She didn't deserve to get hit by some drunk driver and suffer with bleeding her brain that ultimately caused her death. Please go away, I do not need this and I am not a sick-minded enough man to have those thoughts. For everyone else, thank you so much. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, my God, I so incredibly sorry for you that I have no words. I can't even begin to imagine what you're going through, that's a lot of conflicting emotion. I know this is the standard Reddit response, but I very highly recommend seeking out therapy. You need support in this. I'm so sorry for your loss. Op answer, thanks, I have already done so and I am going to be speaking with a psychologist. Redditor 2, there have been discussions on which would be worse, partner dies versus partner cheats. This must be hell on earth. I am so sorry. Redditor follow-up. At least in the our breakups sub-forum, a cheating and leaving partner warm changing overlapping monkey branching is compared to them dying. I have no idea what the op is going through, but that is what happened to me. Since we had no ties apart from living together even after nearly 6 years, no contact, has her memory fading. Redditor 3, is her affair partner married? When are you going to tell the friend that you found out, and that you know she encouraged her to do it? Op answer, no, he isn't married, appears that he was and is still single. I already told her, she first told me she was very sorry to hear that she did that, but that I shouldn't tarnish her reputation by telling people. I said I am only telling you because I know you encouraged her and she hasn't replied. But it's only been a day, I'm not sure anyone would know how to respond. Redditor 4, I lost a boyfriend to suicide and found out at his funeral that he had cheated. I went through waves of sadness and anger, sometimes at the same time and sometimes independently. It cut me in a way that was indescribable. You aren't alone. Redditor follow-up, I had a similar experience. When someone dies, suddenly also suicide in this case, and then evidence starts coming out. Very upsetting and tragic, especially if you trusted the person fully and have no way to confront them about it. Heartbreaking. Hugs to you and the op.